Hello gamers, and welcome to basically the second half of my tribute to the liberation of Italy preview marathon for Steel Division 2. We've covered half the divisions, so still lots of videos to come, and I've been asked to cover 8th Indian Infantry next on the Allied side, so we'll do that, and then followed by, as requested, 26th Panzer. And then after that, it's obviously the 6th SA Armored, and then the 4A Alpina Monterosa. So let's get into it. The 8th Indian Infantry Division was raised in 1940 in the mountainous north of India and fielded British, Indian and Nepalese Gurkha Infantry. Known for its mountain warfare training, it was no surprise the formation was sent to the Italian front, where it acquitted itself well from 1943 onwards. The battle group's main features are its Indian and Gurkha troops, which deploy in larger squads with the radar trait, but at the expense of handheld AT weapons. The renowned Gurkhas are considered fanatical and receive extra SMGs. Tank support is provided by elements from the Canadian 1st Armoured Brigade, fielding Sherman 5, as well as a few Crusader Mark II as self-propelled anti-air guns, I guess. Wings in the sky include the deadly Hurricane Mark IV with its twin 40mm AT guns. The 8th Indian Infantry Division is a solid battle group that feels most comfortable in defensive situations, and it's suggested to as a B-phase division or a B division, which means both in attack and defense it can be effective. So let's take a look. By looking at the activation points, we can see very decent recon, okay-ish infantry, not overwhelming, some tank options, okay-ish support, very decent AT options, at least from the activation slots. AA, so-so, we'll need to see what's in there. Artillery seems very good. Air seems also okay. Seems very well rounded. Let's begin. You get the Willis HMG. That's a unit that people usually don't bring. So you have to upvet it, and you get 6 or 4 in A phase and 12 or 8 in B phase. Then you get the Reese. It's basically a 15-point recon squad of 2 men with 2 SMGs, which is not bad, because then you don't need to micro them and deactivate their weapons or put them to return fire. You get 4, 3 or 2 in A phase, 8, 6 or 4 in B phase, and 12, 9 or 6 in C phase. And they can come in a variety of transports. So the cheapest you can get is like, well, the 0 points Willis obviously, but then the Willis with a machine gun mounted for 5 points, or in the Universal Carrier, which even has some armor, but it's open top, so it can get taken out by HE grenades. And it's got a Bren on top. And this one has a Vickers on top. In addition to that, costs 10 points though. And then the 2-in-1 carrier actually comes with mortar shells. It's a 2-inch mortar with a range of 540 meters. That's actually quite interesting, to be honest, for only 15 points. The usual price, very good rate of fire with 22. This is an interesting option, I think. Then you get the Gurkha Scout, and as it was hoped for, they are fanatical. Different vehicles, interesting. So in A phase, also they've got nice heads. So in A phase you get 5, 4 or 3, so good veterancy curve. In B phase you get 10, 8 or 6. And with regards to vehicles, you can bring them in this carrier as well, or in the ACV IP Mark IIA with 20mm anti-tank rifles for just 10 points. That's not too shabby. Rather fast, some early transport sniping can be done with it. Maybe even side-shotting some tanks. Then you get your Indian Scouts, and they've got this traditional religious chic, I think, or whatever, hat stuff. And they come with sniper rifles. You get 5 in A phase. Well, they come with 1 sniper rifle. Yeah, 5, 4 or 3 in A phase, 10, 8 or 6 in B phase, or 15, 12 or 9 in C phase. That's pretty cool, and you even get 2 cards. And again, they can come in the universal carrier or in the anti-tank rifle personnel carrier. Then you get some Piat Scouts for 25 points. They have a Piat. Vehicle options are the same. 3, 2 or 1 in A phase, 6, 4 or 2 in B phase, and 9, 6 or 3 in C phase. And the Piat is a really poor bazooka. I mean, it's got heat, but accuracy is so poor. Then you get this beast. It's got an assault gun mounted on top with 1.5 kilometers range, firing AP shells with 90mm penetration and also HE shells. The armor is obviously very poor. 20mm front armor, 10mm side and back armor, open top. You also get a 50 cal, or basically it's 12.7mm. You get 3 in A phase, or 2 or 1. In B phase you get 6, 4 or 2. And in C phase you get 9, 6 or 3. But this can actually be quite the interesting vehicle, also because of the vision. And then you get a Humber Mark IV with AP shells and HE shells and a machine gun. 1250 kilometer range, 70mm penetration, that's not that shabby. Very lightly armored, it's got a top armor. So the gun is actually worse. But you get top armor. Speed for both is actually very decent off-road. It's better for the half-track. Availability is 5, 3 or 2 in A phase, 9, 6 or 3 in B phase, and 18, 12 or 6 in C phase. You get 1 card. I think you can easily fill this with nice units and potentially make use of some of those special units. Shahalan. There we go. Okay. Now infantry. You get the cheap defense group consisting of just 5 men, but they've got 2 automatic rifles. So it's not that bad if you can keep them at a distance actually. Only in the Bedford. In A phase 9 or 6. And you get Indian Assault Pioneers. He decided, well, it's too tricky to not wear a helmet, so I'll go for the helmet. Smoke grenade, flamethrower, 3 stand guns. 9 in A phase, which is pretty cool, because usually you get something like this in the support tab with less guys on the German side. And only 6. Or you can bring 6 of them, 1 vetted or 3 double vetted. In B phase it's 18, 12 or 6. In C phase it's 27, 18 or 9. You get 1 card. Vehicles in the Willys. Oh, they can come in the Willys, in the Bedford, or in a command carrier with a Bren, which might be an option. So they don't need supporting infantry. And the Indian Field Engineers are pretty much like those PPS or whatever they are called for the Soviets, or is it Polish? With TNT, really cool. Only 15 points. You get 9, 6 or 3 in A phase, 18, 12 or 6 in B phase, and 27, 18 or 9 in C phase. They come in the Willys or the Bedford. Yeah, interesting, cheap CQC unit. As you can see, all the units here are pretty cheap, but they are not beefy. That's also what it said. Then you get the engineer's leader. They have to come in A phase. The leader himself is a proper Brit, I'd say. And then you get your Indians fighting here. Proper as in born in England with a long ancestry. Then you get 3 or 2 in A phase. They've got the radar straight. Also, like all the Indians here, have the radar straight. Vehicles, it's the Willys or the Bedford. Then you get Indian Rifles. 12 guys with radar straight, 10 Lee Enfields, 1 SMG, and only 1 Bren. They have to come in the Bedford. So you get 9, 6 or 3 in A phase, 18, 12 or 6 in B phase, and 27, 18 or 9 in C phase. So rather steep, in particular, jumping from 18 to 12. Then you get the British Rifles version. What's the difference going to be? It's less dudes, no radar trade, 2 Sten guns instead of 1 Thompson, but also 3 less Lee Enfields. Price is the same, so I'd say you're probably better off with the Indian Rifles. Is the veterancy curve different? 9, 6 or 3 in A phase, 18, 12 or 6 in B phase, 27, 18 or 9 in C phase. 27, 18 or 9, yeah, it seems to be the same. Yeah, same veterancy curve. To be honest, I'm not sure why you would want to take the rifles. Maybe because of the Sten, the 2 Sten guns, so it's slightly better in CQC. Possibly then, other than that, same transport options, only the Bedford. Then you get your Gurkhas Rifles, which is pretty cool. They have 3 Thompsons, 7 Lee Enfields, 2 Brents and Gammon bombs. Radar straight, fanatical, 12 dudes. This is beefy and very decent. They have to come upwetted, so you get 6 or 4 in A phase, 12 or 9 in B phase, and 18 or 13 in C phase. So you might, in particular in B phase, you really might want to upwet them, to double vet them. Only Bedford. The Bedford is really slow, 60 kilometers road speed. Then you get 2 cards. Then you get the rifle leader in the Willys, or carrier commander, or a Bedford. Has to come single vetted. So you get 3 or 2 in A phase, 6 or 4 in B phase, and 9 or 7 in C phase. And they come with a Piat. So that's the difference. Instead of TNT, they come with a Piat. And they also have a radio. I think maybe the Indian leader is possibly even the better option. Slightly stronger. You've got radar and CQC. Then the rifles Piat with 8 Lee Enfields, 2 automatic rifles and Piat. So your AT options, like it's suggested in the description, are not very good. I think like this is possibly one of the better ones with the Gammon bomb. So you get 9, 6 or 3 in A phase, 18, 12 or 6 in B phase, 27, 18 or 9 in C phase. They have to come in the Bedford. It's not a rush tank. Then you get the Gurkhas Rifles leader. 7 guys, leader with radio, smoke, radar and fanatical. They have to come upwetted. They can only come in A phase. You would get 3, that's the most, or 2. And then there's another leader option, the Indian Rifles leader. He has a sniper rifle. He's much worse than the German one, I think. Was it the German? No, the Italian one, the Alpine leader, which was only 25 points and had AT as well on top of the sniper rifle, which is, I think, one of the best leaders right now. But still, this is good with the leader, radio, smoke, radar, SMG, 5 Lee Enfields, and the sniper rifle. Has to come upwetted. You can double vet it and you get 2 instead of 3 in A phase. In B phase it goes from 6 to 4, and in C phase it goes from 9 to 7. Definitely some interesting options here. Very poor AT. In here, not much choice. You got your Canadian Shermans. And you can bring a Sherman Commander. Now the Sherman veterancy curve is a Sherman 5 with 100mm front armor and 90mm penetration. In A phase, well, they have to come single vetted, interestingly. 4 or 3. In B phase it's 7 or 5. And in C phase it's 11 or 8. So you might even want to double vet them, to be honest. At least in A phase. Now, I'd say you can easily bring 3 cards, possibly even 4, if depending on what you want to do. Then we've got the mortars in the support tab. 540 meter range, have to come in wheelies or carrier commander. Radar, fanatical, Gurkha mortars. 6 or 4 in A phase because they have to come upwetted. 12 or 8 in B phase, and 18 or 12 in C phase. Then you get 1 card. Then you get the Indian version of it, and it's basically more or less the same. Obviously, they have different heads. Other than that, it's the same. 6 or 4, and then in B phase 12 or 8, in C phase 18 or 12. They don't have fanatical, so if you were to bring one of these cards, you definitely would want to go for the Gurkhas, I think. And this is your only HMG option. It's only the Indian Vickers HMG with the radar straight though, which is pretty cool. 50% stealth bonus, for example. So really good if you go in houses even. And no suppression models behind enemy lines. So 1k range. They have to come up vetted, so you get 6 or 4 in A phase, you get 12 or 8 in B phase, and you get 18 or 12 in C phase. You get 2 cards. You get 3 cards of supply trucks. And your commander options are this commander on foot with 4 stand guns. Can come in a carrier commander. You can take the Indian Dingo, which is a bit nicely armored. And you can go for the Sherman as well. Nice markings here, so different markings. Yeah, it depends. If you want to just put someone in a house, take the commander. If you just want something armored, take this one. And if you want your commander to fight, which you usually don't want, then take the Sherman, which is also, with medium stealth only. This one even has good stealth. Yeah, so you can fill these slots easily, 4, but possibly you don't even need much more. AT tab, you get your Indian Pirate, which you could use early for some early aggression. You get 6, 4 or 2 in A phase, 12, 8 or 4 in B phase, and 18, 12 or 6 in C phase. They have to come in the Willys or the commander, carrier commander. Raider straight. Might be interesting to sneak them behind enemy lines at the start of the game. Then you get Indian 6-pounders, 175 millimeter penetration with the APCR shells at 1K range. With the AP shells, it's 115 penetration at 1.5K range. So here you see it's a bit misleading, because if you just look at it, you think you get 175 mil at 1.5K range, but the good penetration you actually get with at the range, at the low range, and the shittier penetration at the longer range, but still good, and 6 damage. Then you get your 17-pounder, 170 millimeter penetration at 2K range. You definitely want that. Lloyd Carrier or Bedford, same here I guess. Now the veterancy curve is 3 to 1 in A phase for the 6-pounder. It's 6, 4, 2 in B phase, and it's 9, 6, 3 in C phase. And they do have their special headgear. 17-pounder, veterancy curve is 2 or 1 in A phase, or none. Then in B phase it's 4, 2, 1, and in C phase it's 6, 3, 1. So you don't have any good AT infantry, but possibly, arguably, the Gurkhas Rifles with 300 mil penetration at 100 meter range. And then we've got the AA tab, and you get your Bofors here in the Lloyd Carrier or at the Bedford. And this is all you need. And you get the Raider trait as well, that won't harm you. So you get 3, 2 or 1 in A phase, 6, 4 or 2 in a B phase, and 9, 6 or 3 in C phase. If you get them like single vetted in A and single vetted in B phase, you're probably sorted. But you also do get this Canadian Crusader, and you've got 1 card. That's a bit odd, because you have 6 cards of Bofors, but only 4 slots. Why would you get 6 cards? This is early access, basically preview access, so I don't know why there are 6 Bofors. Maybe it's historically more accurate. Not sure. Or maybe because the AI can get more slots in automatic decks or something. And then the Crusader, you get 2 or upgraded 1 in A phase. In B phase you can get 4, 2 or 1. And in C phase you can get 8, 4 or 2. So depending on your playstyle, if you want to push up, move them with you, this might actually be an interesting option to get them. Killing power here, 0.63 and 0.8. Yeah, the gun is pretty much the same, similar, 0.8. Bullets are worse. Yeah. So these are your options. Artillery tab. You get spotters with 2 Lanchesters and smoke grenade, obviously Recon radio. They have to come in the Willys. You get 3, 2 or 1 in A phase, or in B phase 6, 4 or 2. And they're cool, you know, those spotters. If you are a good player and your micro is good and you sneak them behind enemy lines, that can be really cool. Now, back to artillery commander, you get 2. They have to come single vetted, so you can bring 2 or 1 in A phase. In B phase you can bring 4 or 2, and in C phase you can bring 6 or 3. Beefy, 10 guys, 8 Lee Enfields, 2 Sten guns, Bedford, there we go. Your 60-point mortars are 3-inch mortars, and they are Indian. Some options here as well. Oh, this is cool. Look at this. This is like a bush knife or something. That's really nice. Yeah. And what's the Pegasus here? Not sure. Okay. So you get your 81 millimeter mortar, 3K range, but with the radar trait, so quite nice. They have to come up vetted, but you still get 4 in A phase. So pretty much like in a Fallschirmjäger division where you get 5 unvetted. And then double vetted it would be 3. Not sure if you would want that, maybe because of the increased rate of fire, but possibly not. In B phase you get 8 or 6, and in C phase you get 12 or 9. And then there's something that looks quite interesting. 4.2 inch mortar, 107 millimeter, so not 120 but 107. And you get quite a decent availability actually. For just 10 points more, you can bring 4 of them in A phase. And you also have only 1 card of them. So 4, 3 or 2 in A phase. They've got indirect fire, obviously, smoke layer and radars. 20 shells, so a bit less shells. But 107 millimeter can be, let's take a look. Suppression is 54 better, and blast is more than 1000 better, range is better, rate of fire is a bit worse. And in B phase you get 8, 6 or 4, and in C phase you get 12, 9 or 6. So this I think is a very interesting option. Then you get an Indian 25 pounder with radio. You get 3, 2 or 1 in A phase for 75 points, 6, 4 or 2 in B phase, and 12, 8 or 4 in C phase. Accuracy with 35 is pretty good, so I think you can, rate of fire is not that great, but I think you could potentially use that as for counter battery. Then you get this big boy, 111 millimeter. It can come in a supply truck, which I think is pretty cool. And you would get 3 in A phase, 2 in B phase, and one in C in, sorry, you get 3, 2 or 1 in A phase, 6, 4 or 2 in B phase, and 9, 6 or 3 in C phase. And with the supply truck, they're actually only 120. The rate of fire is really poor, but they have radio, and the accuracy with 40% is maybe ideal for counter battery fire. Good blast as well, and you get 2 cards. I think this is a very interesting option as well. You might even want to consider bringing the spotters. And you get an off map with some Indian dudes here as well. I've got family from India, so I might actually want to try that deck already for that reason. Yeah, you get 1 card in A phase only, and then you have 20mm AP shells, not that great, but that's 140mm AG shells, so I think you get 3 loads. Interesting option, I think. Not that expensive, not that good. You know, it's worth trying, I think. Now air tap. First look at it, nothing super special, as in like a cluster bomber or something like that. You do get the Spitfire Marks 11 with very good agility, 605 km speed, reckon, no radio. You get 2 or 1 in A phase, and you get 4, 2, or 1 in B phase. Give this dude a radio. That's what the army should have done. Now let's take a look at this nice plane. Yeah, I wouldn't like sitting in that tower and then having enemy fighter planes, you know, flying down on me. I think that's pretty scary. Let's show the HUD again. Okay, so let's begin with the Baltimore Mark V. You get 1 card. Heavy bomber, 613 kilogram bombs, and quite some machine guns in the wings. Here, and on the other side obviously then 2 in the tower, or in the turret, and then 2 more in the turret. Where are they? So you get 2 here. And where's the other turret? Potentially here somewhere, and I can't see, and it's not visible. That's my guess. Gurkha air turret. So you get yeah, actually 613 kilogram bombs is not bad at all. You get 2 or 1 in A phase. You get 4, 3, or 1 in B phase, and you get 7, 5, or 2 in C phase. Resilience is only medium. Speed is quite poor, but you can use them as close air support here. Allegedly, I think that's because of the you know, the amount of machine guns you get in the front. And if these are actually in the front turret here, you can shoot out of 6 machine guns. Then the Hurricane Mark IV fighter bomber. Very, very slow, 385 kilometers. I hope it does get faster after it drops the payload. It does get faster, but is this speed the speed with or without the bombs? My guess would be with the bombs, and it would be faster without. So you get 2 Brownings in the wings, so with only 7.7 millimeters. So you can't really shoot down planes with that, I think. And it's all, yeah, it's not considered a fighter here by the developers either. Still, it's a fighter bomber after all. So you get 3, 2, or 1 in A phase. In B phase you get 6, 4, or 2. And in C phase you get 9, 6, or 3. Then you get the Boston Mark IV bomber. Yeah, and there you get a dude here who is supposed to hold a machine gun, I guess. And yeah, there's another turret here with 2 machine guns, and the rest of the machine guns is in the nose down here. So 4 bombs, 227 kilogram, 9 damage, really decent, 5 points more than the Baltimore, both with medium resilience only, and the Baltimore Mark IV is actually slightly faster. Does not have this close air support role. You get 2 or 1 in A phase, you get 4, 3, or 1 in B phase, and you get 7, 5, or 2 in C phase. But usually you don't want to upwet your bombers. Then this is the Hurricane AT plane, as mentioned in the description. It's got AP shells, 30, 80mm penetration, so you can side shot even a Panther, and potentially a Tiger as well. So this can be, I think this can be really good. You get 1 in A phase, in B phase you get 2, 1 or 1, and in C phase you get 4, 2 or 1. So maybe B phase, 2 of them, Speed is slow, resilience is only medium, so if you can use them, it's a bit questionable. Depends on your opponent. You get 2 cards though. AA roll, possibly not. Too slow. And only 2 7.7mm machine guns. Here's your first proper fighter. Spitfire Mark 5B tropical version, I guess. Because of the different camouflage would suggest it as well. And here you do get 2 20mm machine guns and 4 7.7mm machine guns, so this is much better. This is possibly the 20mm, and then here in the wings you get the 7.7mm as well. So this seems to be pretty cool. Close air support as well. You get 4, 3 or 2 in A phase, so you might want to upvet them. 8, 6 or 4 in B phase, and 12, 9 or 6 in C phase. This is seems to be a very, very decent unit. And the Spitfire LF Mark 9C is your other fighter option for 5 points more. You only, availability is worse. You get only 2 or 1 in A phase. In B phase it's 4, 2 or 1, and in C phase it's 8, 4 or 2. You get 4 7.7mm Brownings and 2 20mm Hispano Mark II in the wings. These machine guns are also in the wings, even though I can't seem to see them. And yeah, 610 km speed as opposed to 590, but the weapon loadout is pretty much the same actually. It's exactly the same. Everything else is also the same. I don't know if they're like the internal stat, the turn speed is very different. I think this is your better fighter because of the better availability and only 20 kilometers slower. So if you only want to bring one of these cards, bring this one, I'd say. Then you get your Spitfire LF Mark 8C fighter bomber. Very fast with 545 kilometers, medium bomber, fighter and close air support. This is your jack of all trades and kind of master of all, because you get one 227 kilogram bomb, 213 kilogram bombs, and then you also get the same weapon loadout with regards to machine guns as the other Spitfires. You get 2 or 1 in A phase, and you get 4, 3 or 1 in B phase, and you get 7, 5 or 2 in C phase. This is interesting. 3 single vetted in B phase is better than with the Spitfire LF Mark 9C. So this is definitely your best fighter bomber compared to the Hurricane, for example. Look at the differences with the speed and everything. Obviously it's also more expensive. Availability is a bit better with the Hurricane as well. So maybe bring the Hurricane in A phase, maybe the Spitfire single vetted in B phase, and then maybe the tropical version also in B phase, and you will rain the sky for sure. Maybe even, I'd say even single vetted, and then get 2 bombers, or maybe the Hurricane and 1 bomber. Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you want to go all out air later on, maybe in a 10v10 or whatever, obviously bring them later. Yeah, so this is the deck. I think it's Scouts, Reckon is quite decent. Infantry obviously lacks AT. Other than that, it's quite decent. Tank, it's a Sherman division. Support, quite interesting with this Indian 2-inch mortar. Also, I think it was interesting to have the mortar carrier here. I think that's maybe worth taking and use that as your early game mortar. Support tab, yeah, decent. AET tab, pretty standard and pretty good, with lots of cards. AA, very decent, both forces all you need, a bit costly. Artillery seems quite good. This gun, I really want to try it. This seems very good, to be honest. In particular, considering the price, you might want to bring one set of them with supplies and the other one without or something. Air tab and the Spitfire obviously is pretty cool. The bombers are decent as well. What was the availability? I think, yeah, both similar availability. 3, yeah, same availability. Yeah, so lots of good options. What's my unit of the deck? I think it is going to be, well, I like this plane quite a bit. But I also think that this Indian mortar here looks pretty cool. So I will go for this Indian mortar as my unfortunately without radio, as my unit of the deck. So you can expect this one to be in my deck actually. So thanks a lot for watching. Up next will be my deck building and then the battle. Until then, bye for now.